My wife forced me to sign away my home at dinner, then her favorite book exposed her affair. Claire slid the folder across the white tablecloth like it was a court sentence, already signed at the bottom. While her lover sat 2 chairs away with the spare key to my house, still on his keyring. The private dining room went quiet except for the soft clink of my mother's bracelet against her water glass. My parents were there. Claire's parents were there. Pastor Nolan was there with a pen in his hand. Marcus, Claire's coworker, and the man she swore was just a friend, stood behind her chair as if he had any right to protect her from me. Linda, my mother-in-law, tapped the folder with one red fingernail. "Sign it, Ethan," she said. "Admit you emotionally abandoned my daughter. Leave the house for 90 days, and let her heal somewhere safe. A decent man would stop making a broken woman beg." Claire lifted her favorite book against her chest, the faded blue one from our wedding ceremony, and let her voice shake just enough. "I asked him to read this with me again," she told everyone. "He refused. That is how little our marriage means to him." The ribbon bookmark had not moved in 6 weeks. I looked at the folder, then at the book. "Open it," I said. Claire blinked once. "What?" "The book," I said. "Open it." Her fingers tightened around the cover, and for the first time all night, Marcus stopped looking bored. That was the moment I knew the performance was about to end. The book was called The House with the Green Door. Claire had treated it like a sacred object for as long as I had known her. When we were dating, she kept it on her nightstand with a dried flower tucked inside. When we got engaged, she posted a picture of it beside her ring and wrote, "Love is the promise you keep when nobody is watching." At our wedding, she asked the officiant to read from chapter 12 because, according to her, that chapter had taught her what devotion meant. On our first anniversary, she gave me a second copy and wrote inside the cover, "Read this when I am hard to love." I did. I read it when she came home late and snapped at me for asking whether she had eaten. I read it when she forgot my birthday dinner and cried so hard afterward that I ended up comforting her. I read it when she told me I was too quiet, too sensitive, too suspicious, too difficult to reach. I read it so many times that I started believing patience was the same as marriage. Then Marcus appeared. At first he was a coworker from marketing. Then he was the only person who understood how stressful her office was. Then he was in group photos with his hand hovering too close to her back. Then he was at our house on Saturday afternoons, laughing too loudly at things Claire said and calling me the famous patient husband. The first time he said it, Claire laughed like it was a compliment. When I asked about him, she never answered the question I asked. "You don't trust me. You hate that I have a career. You think every man wants me." Then she started telling other people before I could even understand what was happening. Her mother heard that I had gone cold. My parents heard that Claire was trying to save the marriage alone. Pastor Nolan heard that Claire was scared to be honest with me because I shut down whenever feelings came up. The family group chat became a place where people posted things like, "Praying for you, Claire, and marriage takes effort from both sides." Linda posted the worst one. "Some men do not hit. They just make a woman disappear inside her own home." 42 people saw it before I did. I remember standing in our kitchen with my phone in my hand, reading those words, while Claire sat 10 feet away calmly buttering toast. She did not look nervous. That was what scared me. She looked prepared. The first proof came from a coat pocket. Claire had a gray wool coat she never checked before sending it to the cleaners. I was emptying the pockets because I still did small things like that, even when she had trained half our family to think I was a monster. In the left pocket, under a folded gum wrapper, I found a hotel receipt. The hotel was 15 minutes from our house. The date was a Wednesday night when Claire said she was working late. The room had been paid with a company card, but Marcus's loyalty number was printed at the bottom. I stood there with the receipt in my hand, trying very hard to be the fool she thought I was. Maybe it was for a client. Maybe she had picked it up by accident. Maybe Marcus had booked a room for a visiting manager. Maybe I was jealous and ugly and everything she had already told people I was. Then I noticed the timestamp. 11:14 m. I took a picture of the receipt, slid it back into the pocket exactly as I found it, and hung the coat back up. That was the first time I did not ask her a question she could turn into a story. 2 nights later, Claire told me she was meeting her sister for dinner. Her sister had posted airport pictures from Denver that morning. I said, "Have fun," and watched her smile at me like my trust was something she had successfully stolen. After she left, I opened the living room camera app. We had installed the camera after a package theft. It faced the front door, the entryway table, and the edge of the living room. Claire knew about it. She had stood beside me when I mounted it. She just never cared enough to learn how to use the app. I expected to confirm a time. I did not expect to watch Marcus walk through my front door with my spare key. He came in first, not Claire. He set his laptop bag on my entry table like he lived there. Claire followed him inside, kicked off her shoes, and said, "He's at his dad's therapy appointment. We have at least an hour." Marcus laughed and held up the key. "He still thinks this is in the kitchen drawer?" Claire said. "Ethan thinks whatever I tell him to think." I stopped breathing. They moved off camera for a minute. When they came back, Marcus sat on my couch with one ankle on his knee and asked, "What if he actually figures it out?" Claire laughed softly. "Ethan? Please. He's too nice to make a scene. If I cry, everyone will think he pushed me to it." That line ended my marriage more completely than the affair did. Cheating was a wound. That sentence was a diagnosis. Claire had not stumbled into betrayal. She had studied my gentleness, measured it, and built a plan around it. The next morning, I called a divorce attorney named Angela Park from a grocery store parking lot. I remember the shopping carts rattling in the wind while I whispered into my phone like Claire could somehow hear me through the windshield. Angela did not tell me to confront Claire. She did not tell me to shout. She asked dates, names, records, who had keys, who was on the house deed, who had been told what. Then she said one sentence that probably saved me. "Do not give her any more private conversations she can rewrite." So I stopped. I became boring. I became polite. I became a man who answered, "We can talk about that with a counselor. And please put that in writing. And I'm not signing anything without an attorney." Claire hated it. In counseling, she cried into tissues that stayed dry and told Pastor Nolan, "I don't want to punish him. I just want him to tell the truth." Pastor Nolan turned to me. "Ethan, can you acknowledge that Claire feels abandoned?" I looked at her hands, folded neatly in her lap. Her wedding ring was turned inward. "Claire," I asked, "when was the last time you opened the house with the green door?" Her eyes flashed. Then she looked at Pastor Nolan with a wounded little smile. "He knows that book is sacred to me," she said. "Now he is mocking that too." Pastor Nolan's face closed against me. I let it. That night, I wrote the letter. I wrote it by hand because Claire loved handwritten things when they made her look cherished. I did not insult her. I did not beg. The first line was simple. "Claire, I know about Marcus." I wrote that I had found the hotel receipt. I wrote that I had the camera clip. I wrote that I had filed for divorce that morning. I wrote that I would not debate our marriage in private anymore because she had turned private pain into public theater. Behind the letter, I placed a copy of the stamped divorce filing and a printed image of the hotel receipt. I put one sticky note on the last page. "If this book still means what you say it means, turn the page." Then I opened The House with the Green Door to chapter 12. The passage from our wedding, tucked the envelope inside, and put the book back on her nightstand, with the ribbon bookmark exactly where it always was. For 6 weeks, she never opened it. That detail still makes me feel colder than the hotel receipt. Claire kept using the book. She quoted it in the family chat. She brought it to counseling. She posted a picture of it beside a mug of tea and wrote, "Returning to the words that taught me love is a choice." The ribbon did not move. She was not returning to anything. She was holding a prop. During those 6 weeks, the pressure got worse. Linda came to our house one Saturday with a canvas tote and told Claire to pack a few things because an unsafe emotional environment was not healthy for her daughter. Claire stood behind her in my college sweatshirt. I could smell Marcus's cologne from the hallway. "This is my house," I said. Linda's eyes lit up like I had given her exactly what she wanted. "There it is," she said. "Control. Money. Property. You care more about walls than my daughter's safety." Claire lowered her head. Not enough to hide the tiny smile at the corner of her mouth. Any separation terms can go through attorneys, I said. The smile disappeared. A week later, my mother called me crying because Claire had told her I had threatened to throw Claire into the street. My father sent me a long text about how a man protects a woman even when he is hurt. Pastor Nolan asked if I would attend a healing dinner for our anniversary, so the people who loved us could support an honest separation. I almost said no. Then Claire left a folder on our kitchen table by accident. Or maybe by design. It was blank except for the title she had typed on the first page. Mutual separation statement. Under it were lines where I was supposed to admit emotional abandonment, agree to leave the house for 90 days, keep paying the mortgage and utilities, and allow Claire to remain in the home for stability. There was also a witness line for Pastor Nolan. I took a photo and sent it to Angela. She replied, "Do not sign. Let them speak. If they pressure you in front of witnesses, stay calm." So I went to the dinner. My sister Maya came with me. She was the only person who had never fully accepted Claire's version. She said little, watched everything, and wore the kind of expression that made people careful. Claire chose the same restaurant where we had our rehearsal dinner. She wore the green dress from our engagement photos. She placed the house with the green door beside her plate before the appetizers arrived, cover facing up, like a little blue altar. Marcus arrived 10 minutes late and kissed Linda on the cheek. That almost made me laugh. Claire began after the salads. She thanked everyone for loving us through a difficult season. She said marriage was sacred, but sacred things could still be damaged by silence. She said she had begged me to read our wedding passage with her again, and I had refused. She said she did not want money or punishment. She only wanted safety, honesty, and a stable place to heal. Marcus looked down at the table with the practiced sadness of a man who had rehearsed in a mirror. Then Linda pushed the folder toward me. "Sign it," she said. "Give her the house for 90 days. Admit what you did. Stop hiding behind quietness." Pastor Nolan uncapped his pen. That was when Claire lifted the book against her chest and said, "This book saved me when Ethan made me feel unloved. He won't even open it with me anymore." I looked at the ribbon. Still chapter 12. Still unmoved. "Open it," I said. Claire gave a soft laugh. "This is not about a book. You made it about the book," I said. "Open it to chapter 12. The passage from our wedding." The room changed in a way I could feel before I could explain. Nobody believed me yet. But they noticed that I was not angry. Guilty men usually rage when cornered. I was quiet, and Claire suddenly looked afraid of paper. Maya leaned back in her chair. "Go ahead," she said. "Read the passage you brought here to prove your point." Claire's thumb pressed into the cover. "Ethan," she whispered, "please don't do this." Pastor Nolan looked up. "Do what, Claire?" She opened the book. The envelope fell out and landed beside her wine glass with her name written across the front in my handwriting. Nobody touched their silverware. Claire snatched for it too fast. Maya put one hand on the table. "Why are you grabbing it if it is just a book?" Pastor Nolan held out his hand. "Claire, if that relates to the statement you are asking me to witness, I need to see it." Claire clutched the envelope to her chest like the book had been a shield and the letter had become a knife. I said, "I left that in the book 6 weeks ago. Inside is a copy of the divorce petition filed the same day." That was the first hit. Pastor Nolan took the papers when Claire's father quietly said, "Give it to him." He unfolded the filing notice, read the court stamp, and looked at the date. "This was filed 6 weeks ago." Linda frowned. "No. Claire said he threatened divorce yesterday because she asked for space." "I didn't threaten divorce yesterday," I said. "I had already filed." Claire whispered, "Ethan, stop." It was the first honest thing she had said all night. The second hit was the receipt. I opened the photo on my phone and placed it beside the folder. One hotel. One Wednesday night. One company card. Marcus's loyalty number at the bottom. Marcus stood up so fast his chair scraped the wall. "That doesn't prove anything," he said. Maya looked at him. "Then sit down." He did not sit. Claire's father picked up the phone and stared at the receipt for a long time. Then he looked at Marcus. Not me. That was when the room stopped treating me like the accused. The third hit was the camera clip. I did not play all of it. I played just enough. Marcus entering my house with my spare key. Claire following him in. Marcus holding up the key and asking, "He still thinks this is in the kitchen drawer?" Claire answering, "Ethan thinks whatever I tell him to think." Then the part that hollowed the room out. "What if he actually figures it out?" Marcus asked. Claire's voice came through my phone, clear and calm. "Ethan? Please. He's too nice to make a scene. If I cry, everyone will think he pushed me to it." No one moved. My mother covered her mouth. My father looked at me like he had just realized his own calls had been used as weapons. Linda's face went pale, then hard. Because pride arrived before shame, Claire tried to save herself by attacking the proof. "You recorded me in my own home?" "Our home," I said. "You spied on me. The camera faces the front door. You knew it was there. You left me no choice." She snapped. "You were going to make me look like the cheater. And I needed people to believe me before you twisted everything. I needed the house stable before you turned everyone against me." That was the fourth hit, and she delivered it herself. Not grief. Not confusion. Not loneliness. Control. Pastor Nolan slowly capped his pen. "Claire," he said, "did you ask me here tonight to witness a statement you knew was based on a false version of events?" Claire's mouth opened. No tears came. "I was trying to protect myself," she said. "From the truth?" Maya asked. Claire looked at Marcus for help. Marcus looked at the door. That was the fifth hit. The plan collapsed in the room where she had built it. Pastor Nolan took the folder, drew one firm line through the witness space, and wrote, "Refused. Contradictory evidence presented." He dated it and slid it away from me. "I will not witness this," he said. "And I will not participate in pressuring Ethan to sign a statement that misrepresents what happened." Linda started to speak. Claire's father cut her off. "No. I want to read what our daughter tried to make him sign." He took the folder. His face changed line by line. "You wanted him to leave his own house," he said to Claire. "Keep paying for it. And admit he abandoned you. While Marcus had a key?" Claire said, very softly. "I needed stability." Maya said, "You needed cover." Marcus muttered, "I should go." My father stood before I did. He did not touch Marcus. He only stepped between him and the door. "Put my son's house key on the table first." Marcus gave a nervous laugh. Nobody joined him. He dug into his pocket, worked the key off his ring with shaking fingers, and dropped it beside the book. The sound was tiny. It ended the performance anyway. Linda still tried once more. "Claire made mistakes," she said, looking at Pastor Nolan instead of me. But Ethan did not have to humiliate her like this. Pastor Nolan turned the folder around so she could see the statement. "Linda, you pushed this paper at him in front of us. You asked me to witness it." The humiliation started before he said a word. That was the first time Linda had no sentence ready. The fallout started before the check came. My mother opened the family group chat. The same one where Claire had been treated like a wounded saint, and I had been treated like a quiet abuser. Her hands shook as she typed. "I need to correct something. Ethan did not abandon Claire. We were given false information. I judged my son based on lies. And I am sorry." She sent it. My father added, "I was wrong to pressure Ethan. Do not repeat the earlier claims about him." Then everyone looked at Linda. Linda stared at her phone, like it had betrayed her too. Claire whispered, "Mom, don't," Pastor Nolan said. "The correction should come from everyone who helped spread the accusation." Linda typed slowly. "I repeated accusations against Ethan that I should not have repeated. I am correcting that now. The separation statement should not be treated as true. It was stiff. It was not enough. But it landed in the same place where the smear had spread." Claire saw the messages appear and finally started crying for real. Not because she was sorry, because the audience had changed sides. After dinner, I did not go home with her. Angela had already sent formal notice that all divorce communication had to go through counsel. When Claire called from the parking lot 13 times, I did not answer. When she texted, "You destroyed me in front of everyone," I forwarded it to Angela. The next morning, Claire came to the house with Linda to pick up clothes. Maya and my father were there with me as witnesses. The locks had already been scheduled to be changed because Marcus's key had proved the old ones were useless. Claire saw the book on the dining room table. Beside it were the envelope, the folder, the returned key, and a printed still from the camera clip. "You're keeping my book now?" she said. "I'm keeping the evidence until my attorney scans it," I said. "You can have the book after that." She stared at me with a kind of hatred I had never seen during the marriage, probably because I had stopped being useful. "It was just a book, Ethan." That was when I almost laughed. Even after everything, she still did not understand. Within a week, the practical consequences began. The temporary order did not remove me from the house. Claire had to communicate through attorneys. The joint credit card was closed. The locks were changed. Pastor Nolan sent a written correction to both families, saying he had been asked to witness a separation statement under incomplete and misleading information, and would no longer provide counseling to us together. Marcus's employer contacted me after Angela sent them a limited copy of the hotel receipt because the room had been paid for with a company card. I did not know what happened behind their doors, and I did not need to. All I know is that Marcus was removed from Claire's project within 2 weeks, and she stopped claiming he was just a supportive friend. Claire tried one last lie. She emailed both families saying I had weaponized private pain, and that no one understood how lonely I had made her feel. For 1 minute, the old version of me wanted to answer every sentence. Then my mother replied in the group chat before I could. "This does not explain Marcus having a key, the hotel receipt, or the video. Please stop blaming Ethan for what you chose to do." Claire left the chat. Linda did not follow her. The divorce was not instant. Real consequences almost never arrive as cleanly as stories make them seem. There were forms, inventories, awkward emails, lawyer invoices, and mornings when I still woke up angry that someone I loved had turned my patience into a trap. But the story Claire built did not survive the room where she tried to finish it. That mattered. Some people apologized well. Some apologized badly. Some only got quiet because they did not want to admit how easily they had been used. I accepted apologies that came with changed behavior. I stopped making room for the rest. Claire sent one long email about closure. She said we had both failed each other. She said public exposure was cruel. She said one day I would understand that she had only been trying to survive. Angela replied for me. All further communication should remain limited to divorce-related matters. The book is in a plastic evidence sleeve now, inside a storage box with the letter, the receipt copy, the returned key, and the folder Pastor Nolan refused to witness. Not because I miss what it used to mean. Not because I need a trophy. I keep it because for months, Claire turned my home, my name, my marriage, and my silence into props for her performance. She always said the house with the green door taught her what love looked like when nobody was watching. In the end, it showed everyone what she looked like when she thought nobody would check. And it was never just a book. It was the first boundary she ever had to open with her own hands.